length of time it takes to paint the painting is not determined by the time of the painting, but rather by all the life experiences that goes into it. So notice, in this painting, it also has the bold strokes, it has the bold colors, because that is innate of me. But if you will notice, the edges are tight. It is tighter. It is more, it's a tad restrained. It is not as free. And that has something to do with where I was at that point in my life. Many times I have been asked, whether at my own art show or if I have someone viewing my art at a gallery or in my own home, I have been asked, how long does it take to do that painting? Honestly, I get a little bit miffed when I get asked that question, because the value of a painting is not based on how long it takes to paint that painting, because each and every painting is the product of the soul of the artist. It's the product of my experiences through life. Take this painting, for example. This is a body of work that belonged to a body of painting that I called My Poppies 12 Years Hence. I will show you later a much earlier work of art that I painted, also about poppies. So if you will notice, which you probably won't notice, but it is here. This painting is, first of all, my technique is palette knife strokes. Palette knife, strong, bold palette knife. And if I would say palette knife paintings are very unpredictable. It is something that surprises you. Even I cannot control it. I have a vision in the beginning of what I want. But because I paint wet on wet, wet oil paint over wet oil paint, then what happens with a palette knife stroke is always a surprise. If you will look at these paintings, this has so many colors and layers of colors. Here alone is a bold yellow. By the way, that is the last stroke. Bold yellow. I want it to be bold. I want it to be the star of this particular flower. When I did this, there is a green underneath. But because it's wet on wet, when I make my palette knife stroke, the green shows underneath. Lighter green over here, bold yellow over here. I purposely put a darker pink underneath because I knew I wanted that to be the center of the rose. And then I put a lighter rose color on top to be a highlight. And as I do that, it mixes with a yellow over here. And it's quite a surprise. Just like a Van Gogh painting, which by the way, I did not plan to paint like Van Gogh. I just evolved to be kind of like him, not quite. I don't think I'm even close to his talent. In his painting, just like in this painting, you don't expect to see a purple in the middle of a rose, but you don't expect to see a pink in the middle of this rose. It is an orange rose, but I put it there. But when you step forward and you look from afar, it becomes part of the big picture. If you watch a Van Gogh painting, you will see his own portrait. If you go close, his face is painted green, is painted blue. Now, if you really think about it, is there a face that is blue or green? No. But when you step back, it is a whole picture and it all makes sense. So, same with my palette knife. I thrust unpredictable colors, but when you step back, it becomes part of the whole picture. Also, part of the evolution of the artist, my evolution, is that as I went through life and experiencing quite a few hardships, when you cross that threshold of hardship and you find out nothing really so bad happened, then you realize that nothing so bad is really gonna happen. Just like with a painting, when I was a new palette knife artist, I'd be so scared. Once I got that painting there and there was something wrong, and my mentor would say, Charisse, that isn't right, take that out. And I'd go, no, I don't want to do it because I don't know how to do it again. Now, if you get past that where you're no longer afraid and you're bold enough to scrape it off and start all over, then you will know as an artist that you have made it, have gained that strength and confidence to scrape off what you're not happy with and start it all over, just like life. So with this painting, my Poppies 12 years hence, I have gained that confidence. I have gained that belief in myself that I am no longer scared to thrust that last stroke. This is the last stroke of this painting. Now, believe it or not, it is just a vase, yes, but that last stroke could probably make or break the painting. But I have passed that stage where I am afraid to do so, just like in life. I thrust that, I'm happy, painting done. That is the story of the evolution of an artist. So I had talked about the evolution of a painting and how long it takes an artist to paint a painting. So I did mention earlier that it takes a lifetime to create art. You just don't know it. So let's go back to my earlier work. This is called Poppies number 5. And I painted this many, many years ago, and it's actually already sold, but the collector just hasn't picked it up. We wanted to keep this in the family because it's a very close to Van Gogh painting, but hey, the collector really wanted it, so I sold it. But I just wanted to point out the difference between my more recent work to work from years ago. And the reason for that, as I had explained, is about the emotional growth of the artist. The emotional growth affects how the artist paints. And therefore, the length of time it takes to paint the painting is not determined by the time of the painting, but rather by all the life experiences that goes into it. So notice, in this painting, it also has the bold strokes. It has the bold colors because that is innate of me. But if you will notice, the edges are tight. It is tighter. It is more, it's a tad restrained. It is not as free. And that has something to do with where I was at that point in my life. That is part of the evolution of an artist. This is the earlier part of my evolution. The painting that I showed you earlier is now the recent part of my evolution. And an artist, a true artist, will always evolve, true to oneself.